What is good, YouTube? Coming to you with another video on the New York Knicks. What to expect. This is a team that I don't really cover that much. This is a team that I don't really talk about that much, but we have to do it because we're trying to cover every team before we get into the prediction for the awards. So the Knicks is a team that they was mediocre the last couple years. They was able to win some games. They was able to get off to decent starts, but they couldn't finish the season strong. They used Derrick Rose to trade it for him. They had Joakim Noah. They tried to have a decent roster. They didn't have enough depth in the bench, and they had a lot of injuries, and they just couldn't continue to win games, and they couldn't close out the season. And they hovered around the playoffs. They was able to be in the playoffs for a couple months, but they just couldn't stay to make the playoffs. So this is a team that has players like Carmelo, like Joakim Noah, like Courtney Lee. They have solid veterans on decent contracts, even though Joakim Noah is not. But a player like Courtney Lee is on a decent contract. And I like what they're doing to a certain extent. I feel like Phil Jackson, even though he did get fired, we don't know how Frank Ntilikina plays. Kristaps was a steal now that we look back at it, even though a lot of people said it was stupid and it was a bust, but now it's looking smart. And I know the Joakim Noah sign was terrible because he's been injury prone and he hasn't been able to play that long, and he's not really even effective defensively or offensively at all. And he doesn't really bring that much to the table right now, but it looked at kind of like, Joakim Noah, if he can come back healthy, maybe they can make a run. Maybe he can play D. Maybe he can help the offense. And he just got injured and really was a shell of himself. So you got to take the good with the bad. Obviously, he signed. He Iman Shumpert. He traded J.R. Smith. He tried to get as many picks as he could. He tried to get some draft picks. And nothing really worked out besides Kristaps so far. Carmelo, he signed him. Then he wanted to get rid of him. Then he was talking trash about him. And he was able to help the team. The team ended up making the playoffs. They was able to get to the second round. And then after that, they just been terrible. And Amari Stoudemire seemed like it was a steal because he was proving that he was an MVP candidate, even though they was a mediocre, barely above 500 or a 500 team throughout the season. They traded for Carmelo, and next thing you know, he couldn't stay healthy. So the Knicks has had a lot of bad luck, and they had a lot of inconsistencies over the last basically 20-plus years, honestly. And sometimes you can blame the organization. Some you can blame. Well, you have to blame the organization, honestly. And a little bit you have to blame the players for not playing hard, for not trying hard. And then you actually have to blame the coaches because they haven't been able to get a good system. And that's on Phil Jackson, too. And they've been going through coaches and coaches and coaches, GMs. And they just cannot find a way to stay together and focus on winning and build a family in the New York Knicks organization, because there's so much transition, so much turnover every year. Somebody going, somebody getting fired, and we don't even know the direction of this Knicks team. Like I'm saying, they still got solid veterans. They still have people that they paid a lot of money to, and it's going to be hard to get rid of a lot of them players. Carmelo Anthony is an example. They're paying him $26 million, even though he can waive his trade kicker. He can use his trade kicker to get even more money. And you have to trade up to $26 million in salary just to get Carmelo Anthony without the trade kicker. But he's 33 years old, and he's just not the same player. I know he was an all-star player last year, but he's getting older, and he's not a great defender. He's not a great playmaker. He's a solid shooter from the three, and he's a good mid-range scorer, but he's more in isolation, not within the offense. So I like the potential what this team could be, but they're going to be a team that needed to lose more. And they've been losing even with Carmelo Anthony, and now they can't really get any picks because nobody really want to give up high picks for Carmelo. And then he's going to be gone in 2 years because they're not going to re-sign him because they want him to leave. And they don't want to buy him out because they might not get nothing in return besides salary cap, and nobody really wants to go to the Knicks. Like, yeah, well, please, we going to the Knicks. And even though they will have a lot of salary cap if they do waive Carmelo, I mean, not waive, but buy him out, they just had a salary cap, but people will have to want to come, and young people gonna have to want to come unless they just draft them and pay them when they restrict the free agents. So I like what Kristaps showed the last couple years. He showed that he has improved. He showed that he can be a star. He showed that he can score on his level. He can finish. He can shoot. He can be a monster, and he can defend on his level. The problem with him, he's been a little inconsistent because of the roster too. 1 minute Kristaps showing he could be the most improved player. Next minute Derrick Rose taking a lot of shots away from Kristaps. Carmelo wants the ball more, and then his numbers go down, his touches go down, and then he has a decent season when he could have had a most improved player season like Giannis. And he was doing that at the beginning, the first 3 months of the season, and next you know the fire just went out, and he had basically a good season, not even great, and they're going to need more out of him because he's the guy that's going to be the franchise star so far on his team. And he's going to need other young players to come in and build with him because he's only 22. And he's going to need people that can develop with him and they can build some chemistry, and they can build some chemistry with the coach, and they can start winning games, but they just haven't been able to do it good enough. They have drafted Willie Herman Gomez. That was a decent. They got back Tim Hardaway Jr., who is 25. He's a guy that can light it up. He's not scared of the moment. He takes big shots. He's a shot creator, a shot maker. He's not a playmaker, but he's a guy that you want on your team because he can knock down tough shots. He can create his own shot. He can get to the basket. He brings excitement to the team. He brings energy to the team because you happy when he's knocking down these shots. He's a guy that you do want to have, but they let him go, and now they're paying him $16 million, which ain't that much because a player like JJ Redick got paid $23 million, and he can't create shots like Tim Hardaway Jr. Michael Beasley is one of them veterans that they're paying him cheap, but we don't really know what he's gonna do. He's gonna come off the bench and basically try to replace Carmelo because he likes to take the elbow isolation jumpers, and he likes to take high post jump shots, kind of like Carmelo, but he's just not as good as Carmelo is at it and as effective. But he can do similar things to Carmelo. Frank Ntilikina, he's only 18 years old, and he's 6'5" and he weighs 190. So I like this guy. He's athletic, he's long, he's lanky. He can be a solid defender in the future. He's a guy that can put the ball on the floor, get to the basket, knock down some in between game shots like pull up jumpers or little floaters to throw the ball right in the basket. He's not the greatest shooter, but like what do you expect from an 18-year-old? He's gonna have to develop. He's gonna have to continue to get better. He's gonna have to get more playing time, and I rather have him than Derrick Rose because the guy has potential and he has size to be a problem at the point guard position in the length. So I like that pickup, and you got him later in the lottery. I think you drafted him number 9 or number 8. So with that being said, I like him. And he can play both guard positions, point guard or shooting guard, because he got size and length for both positions. So if you want to play him at point, play Tim Hardaway at the shooting guard, you can do that. Or if you want him to play off the ball, which he can do potentially, you can have Tim Hardaway go to the bench and he can just play the backup too. Or he can either just play off the ball, or he can play on the ball with Tim Hardaway Jr. So I like that versatility that you can do with him. And I like the veterans on the roster. I like Roman Sessions. I like Vujicic because he can shoot and space out the floor. I like Beasley because he's a guy that can bring effort and energy and scoring. Courtney Lee is a guy that still might start, but if he doesn't, he can play defense. He can knock down. He's a 3-and-D guy basically, and I like that. And that's something that Tim Hardaway Jr. needs anyway, as a 3-and-D. He can hit the threes. He can knock down shots, but he's not a great defender. And they still have Willie Herman Gomez. So the team is solid. It's not a playoff team. Even though the East has got weaker, we all expected them to make the playoffs last year, and they didn't. When they got Derrick Rose, Courtney Lee, and Kristaps, Joe Kimino, we all, oh, this is kind of a playoff roster, especially in the East, and they wasn't able to do it for the whole season. They was in the playoffs, but they couldn't do it and finish the season. So we'll see what they do this year. Obviously, I prefer them to get a lottery pick. They got Ntilikina. They have Kristaps Porzingis. They have Willie Herman Gomez. They need to continue to accumulate more picks, and if they can trade Carmelo for some second-round picks or some first round pick and try to get him off and without buying them out, which just seem like that's the only option they have because they've been trying to get them to the Rockets, but the Rockets don't have that many picks and they don't really have any high picks because they're going to be winning 50 games with or without Carmelo. So you might have to find a second team, and if you do, you're going to want high picks. But if you're not really giving anything in return besides Carmelo and probably a throw-in to make the salary match, then you might not even get a top pick either, because nobody really wants Carmelo at 33. If he was 25, 28, we probably would have gave you a first-round pick or a top 10 pick. But since he's 33, turning 34, nobody wants to give you youth for a guy that's a veteran. And that's the problem right now with the Carmelo trade. I got respect for Carmelo. He's an all-star last year. He can score. He can still play. And he's a guy that can make a big impact on another team, especially team with a lot of talent, because he don't need the ball to be the he wouldn't need the ball. He wouldn't have to carry the team. He'd just be getting easy mid-range shots, spotted up threes, layups, and dunks, and he had to play within the system because he'd be playing with other people that's talented, and that can take a lot of dirt and pressure off of Carmelo. So I like the roster to a certain extent. I wish they continue to lose so they can continue to get top 5 to top 10 picks to build around Kristaps and Ntilikina. So with that being said, I like what Phil Jackson was doing to a certain extent. Obviously, you got to take the good with the bad, but he might, if Ntilikina pan out and Kristaps pan out, you have 2 players under 25 that can potentially play the 4 and the 5 and the shooting guard and the point guard, and you have a lot of versatility right there and a lot of length, and you never know defensively what they can become, and you don't ever know how great offensively these 2 players can become, and they can play the pick and roll together and pick and pop, pick and roll, and Ntilikina can get to the basket and can always kick it out to Porzingis, who's a solid 3-point shooter. So I like the potential of those 2. Now they need that third guy since Carmelo gonna be gone within 2 years, and if they lose again, they probably can get a rookie that can become that third guy in the future. So the Knicks got bright future. I'm suspecting them to win around 28 to 33 to 35 games, barely miss the playoffs at the best, and if they do that, you might still get a top 10 pick. So you still win either way. You giving your fans some competitive games, some competitive basketball, and on top of that, you're still getting a top 10 pick, which you need to build around Ntilikina and Porzingis. So let me know what you guys think about this roster. Let me know what you guys think about the Knicks. Are they a playoff team? Are they great? Is they on the right pace? Do they need to trade Carmelo? What do you want them to do? What do you think they should do? And can they make the playoffs? I think no. But they need to continue to get draft picks, which means they need to continue to lose. And Carmelo, he hasn't really changed the winning and losing that much. And you need to get rid of him. Either buy him out, try to sign a younger player, or try to draft the next big player like a Porzingis. So that's the only options they really have, because they can't really trade anything because they don't really have that much assets besides Ntilikina and Porzingis. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. It'll be in the link in the description below. Also, check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. It'll be in the link in the comment section below. All you gotta do is click the link and it sends you right to the Facebook page, and all I'm asking you guys to do is like the Facebook page just to show support, and that's it. Let me know what you guys think about the New York Knicks. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going.